And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Krusty Old Guy once again. Krusty, there is hockey.
Yes,
We
there is.
we have hockey, and this is great. Um, just as a reminder, friends, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis.
Yes,
And
leave a review. Say
leave a
Krusty
review.
stinks.
Roast Krusty, please.
Yeah.
um, and if anybody is going to any game this season, any game, NHL, AHL, PWHL, college hockey, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up all the pucks in play. And if anyone is in section 330-ish and you hear somebody chirping at somebody that's walking during gameplay, guess what? It's probably your favorite podcasters. Because, gosh darn it, we do like to chirp.
I don't like to chirp anymore. I think.
Okay, I chirp. I will chirp.
Yes.
I will fully chirp. If I do this message every week and people are still doing it, you best believe I'm going to roast them. Polite.
Yeah, I just sound like an old man saying, "Get off my lawn."
Yeah.
So I'll try not to do that. But, I might laugh at you.
That's fair. All right. Getting into the NHL world, like we said, it's the beginning of hockey. Today was the beginning of the triple header. First game's done, and we're just waiting for the next two to start. Am I going to watch the entire night of hockey? You bet your butt I will. I may or may not have the Ranger game on in ice night while recording this, but hockey is back. But slightly before hockey came back, we had a contract that was signed. Very wacky one. I think it surprised everyone, but I think because there's so many people on so many different viewpoints of this contract and whether he was going to sign or not, a lot of people were going to be surprised either way. I think if he signed a massive contract, people are going to be surprised. And if he didn't sign a massive contract, people are going to be surprised because it's Connor McDavid with a not massive contract at all. You've got Connor McDavid for 2 years at $12.5 million. I think this is very telling of McDavid's camp to Bowman and the rest of the Edmonton administration. The time is now. The time is now. You're on the clock. Because he could easily go elsewhere.
That's a definite. Also would like to slow everybody's roll who says, "Oh, that'll be the perfect window for the Blackhawks." In 2 years, the Blackhawks still aren't in the playoffs. I don't think Connor McDavid is coming to a team that can't make the playoffs. So that's a little bit of a fairy tale. But low number, just 2 years. So it definitely does state that we'll revisit in 2 years if things aren't figured out. And if I don't have a ring, he'll be seriously thinking about going someplace else.
Which, and I don't blame him. I don't blame any player that, very much dictates their contract in terms of like ring first, where I'm at forever, how long later. I totally understand. I mean, as much as I'm, tooting the Florida bandwagon, it's got to stink me in Connor McDavid's position right now with just losing back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Yeah, and I mean that's all part of it, though. You say, well, what team does he have a better chance of winning it? Well, he got as close as possible on this team, so
right.
And for those thinking this now swings the landscape back from Krill's contract, that is not the case. Listen, McDavid has already made over $100 million in salary.
Yeah.
At just 29 years old. So he's gotten his money. To expect other people who haven't gotten that massive amount of money to then still take things on the cheap would be silly.
Right.
So, he's showing that he wants to win. He's going to help out his team with the cap aspect. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's not going to change anything as far as everybody else.
No. So, but definitely was interesting. I don't know. I think I was either expecting a higher dollar amount or longer term.
I was not expecting the longer term, but I was expecting a higher dollar amount. He could have easily asked for 18 million and they would have said oakley dokley.
Right.
So, no, he's kind of stated that he'll be going short term. And, you know, with all the dreaming of how much the cap is going to continue to go up, your contract's going to continue to go up.
Right.
But I think that was twofold, as you said. He wants an out if all of a sudden things go bad.
Right.
He'll want to be able to leave. So
I don't know. I feel like he's Connor McDavid. Even if he has term, if he wants out, management's going to give him an out.
Yes,
but would you make Connor McDavid mad?
Right, but then you got to publicly come out and say it. Where this way you just skip on off to free agency and become a free agent. With, I mean, anything else, it's you look even a little worse. So, you know, that's just kind of the way it is. And again, the thought process of, well, you know, other players are going to look bad for asking for more. That's not going to happen either. So.
No, because I feel like if that was really the case, nobody would go over Crosby's dollar amount. Like,
correct.
You look at a guy who has consistently been overpaid for a significant portion of his career, and no one has a problem asking for more money than him.
Yes.
So clearly it's not a problem. And I don't think it should be a problem. I mean, I think that's Sid's choice, and that's players' choices to take a hometown discount, or however you want to paint the picture of why they're taking less money. I mean, as Krusty likes to tell people all the time, their actions should not have an effect on like what you choose to do and how you feel about your own situation.
Correct. And again, no different than some of the contracts, you know, signed in Florida. These teams are close. Anybody else, you're not close yet, because it's been the same two teams for the last 2 years. So there you have it. Good for him. Yeah. Great signing by Stan. Stan will be on the clock to deliver, and he's got defensive issues and goaltender issues. And as much as everybody wants to say, well, Stan Bowman will blow that, I don't know. I think of Roosevelt and Johnny Oduya.
Legends.
He was pretty good at filling holes defensively.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on Edmonton, there is no Duncan Keith or Brent Seabrook, so you're a little bit behind. So, but that's not on Bowman anyway.
I also don't think Bowman has room to go get out a Duncan Keith or Brent Seabrook in terms of cap.
No, because you're stuck with Nurse and his $9 million contract. That's the way it is. And Bouchard with his, you know, defensive lapses, you've got it 10. So it's.
Is there another raccoon?
I almost thought I saw one, but I think it was just shadow. Did you see a frightened look on my face? That was it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'm a little skittish out here.
That's fair.
Let's move on.
Okay.
You got anything else?
Not really. Beginning of the season, nothing too crazy yet. It's like, give it a week. Somebody will make a big splash.
I think so. We've gone over the Kopitar stuff. You know, this is his swan song.
Yep. Still don't know about Ovi.
I do not watch in between the period stuff. What did you think about TJ Oshie? He's still got the face of like a 20-year-old.
I was fine with it. I mean, I also sometimes throw it on mute. Yeah, I thought he was fine.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of Messier's opinions and whatever the third guy was. I certainly liked Oshie the best out of the three, but all in all, I think that broadcast team is significantly better than the TNT
The
stuff.
TNT Fun Bunch?
Oh God.
Yes, the TNT Fun Bunch.
Yeah, so but I thought Oshie did well. I think it will suit him.
Yes, probably. And yeah, as far as the TNT Fun Bunch, see, I don't have to ever listen to them because I don't have TNT. So that means I'll have to go to the bar to watch it, which means I won't be hearing it anyways.
Right.
Because the Blackhawks are still so irrelevant, they're not turning the music off for the game. That
Yeah.
I can tell you. What else we got?
That's all I have for the NHL world. We have got our first major, well, not major, but more than two kids prospect report for this week. Starting off, we've got 2 assists for Jack Pridham out of the Kitchener Rangers, 2 goals and 2 assists from Merrick Vanaker from Brantford Bulldogs, 1 assist from John Mustard from Providence College, 1 assist from Julius Sumpf from Providence College. You've got a really nice goal from Vaclav Nestrasil from UMass. Sasha out of Boston University has 1 goal and 2 assists. Adam Guyon started in net for University of Minnesota Duluth both games this weekend and only let in 2 goals. So he had 2 nice wins to start off the beginning of the season. We talk about him a little sporadically. I'm a fan, but I think this has the potential to be a big year for him, not only him going into his sophomore year at University of Minnesota Duluth, but the possibility of him being one of the goaltenders for Team Slovakia come February. And then finally, we've got my favorite. I'll call him a human highlight reel, just because really all of his goals are what I see on the X, Y, and Z, as Krusty likes to put it. And we got a hat trick from Anton Frundell this past weekend. Guys, I was
And a
watching
Michigan goal.
and a Michigan goal, but the Michigan goal was not during the hat trick one. Guys, watching this Florida Chicago game just makes me so excited for whenever Frundell shows up. I will say I'm very much drinking the Kool-Aid. The more I watch the Frundell kid, I still think it's a great, thing to have him in the SHL this year. But gosh, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's the perfect place for him. There's talk about once they're done bringing him over here. I just think you're better off letting him hang and then bringing him in for camp next year. There's just no rush on any of this except to show off. Look at my shiny new thing. There's no need for it, but he's looked really well. The guy in Russia's looked really well.
Kancerov's looks really good.
We need that.
I have a question, Krusty, that you may or may not know the answer, and we may have to do some digging.
I'm sure I do not know the answer.
Does the SHL take time off in February for the Olympics? Or are they like the AHL and they continue?
I have to figure that I don't know. But I would assume if you are them, half of your team's coming from there, right? I would have to figure I don't think you can take a break. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because I think half of your team is coming from that league, but also I don't think that league is something that can withstand 2 weeks off. So
We're looking.
she's looking, but
Because
either
like, I know there's some times where it's like when the NHL obviously takes a break, you send down the young kids to go to Rockford so they can continue playing because you don't necessarily want them to have a 3-week gap.
Correct.
That's a lot to put on Frendell to go to Rockford for 3 weeks.
Well, he's not. No, he does. You don't fly across the pond just for that. It's just none of it would make sense. Hey, how about continuing to play like he is, and maybe we just put him on the Olympic team? So
Love to see it. Love to
yes,
see it.
but yes, it's been a great start for him. I don't know if he'll be a Barkov, but he'll be a piece, and he's something that they're missing.
He didn't even compare himself to a Barkov.
No, because that's the premier centerman in the league right now. I mean,
right. He's like, I'm not a Barkov.
Yeah. So, anything else on the prospects?
No, that's it. Should get into more once Rockford starts, because that's the thing, folks. If you are a little upset that your favorite guy, like me, is not in Chicago starting October 11th, well, Rockford's first game is October 11th. Their home opener is also this Saturday. Yeah, I know, Krusty, but we don't control things in the AHL, and I don't even think that's something the Blackhawks can buy their way out of. But so Rockford's, they've done some preseason games. None of the top guys that they may want to use as fluff pieces down in Rockford were really playing. Comesso played, Bereznoi obviously played. You had Thompson playing a little bit, although one of their preseason games got cut short because the city's power went out. But that was also a morning game when it was all just kids. So all the kids had to be escorted back onto the bus after an hour of the power being out at the rink. Crazy time.
Good times.
Very crazy times.
And yes, one of the narratives being pushed already by your Chicago Blackhawks is they're the third youngest team in the AHL too, or maybe the youngest team, which in the AHL doesn't mean squat. I've got enough big time prospects down there that I expect a first or a second in the division this year. Anything else is a fail. There is enough talent down there defensively and offensively. It is time to start going with winning ways, and no more excuses, at least for Rockford.
That is true. Yeah, I'm going to go with no excuses across the board, which brings us to the big club. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the big club, Krusty, you had something that we didn't talk about last week that you wanted to talk about. Something that you do on a yearly basis.
Yes, we should have done that earlier, before people start to tune out. Or maybe they still are with us. I hope you're still with us. And yes, that is our CD. So there's the CD that I put together every year. So I have something to listen to on my drive down to the stadium. I don't like hearing people talk about the game because it's just a waste of time. So yes, I have put together another one. There will now be 3 players who have songs. 2 players have one song together, and somebody else has their own song. So I found it very fascinating that this is the first time that I have ever put out a song by the Canadian supergroup.
Mm.
So, which is the Tragically Hip. So,
yeah, big fan of that one.
Yeah. So it is, I changed the name for some reason on the Spotify, so it's different than usual. It's B Hawks, all capital letters, 26.
Yep.
If you want to do some listening, before you go to the game and everything, I thoroughly think it's some of my best work. It's pretty mostly high tempo.
Yeah, definitely high tempo. Definitely listen to it on the way to the preseason game on Friday, because you got to listen to something on the brown line.
You sure do. I listened to it while walking the dog before the game.
Mm.
And I was Again, I understand that I have a huge problem because 20 minutes before game time, I was already pacing. I couldn't wait for this thing to start. Uh, it's just the way it is. It's what I enjoy. I
Yep,
get utmost satisfaction of watching Blackhawk hockey. I wish it was better, but oh well, it's still hockey.
that is true. Let's get into the big club because we had a game.
We did.
Well, we had a couple of preseason games since we last talked, and now we've had a regular game. I went to the preseason game against Minnesota. It was good till it wasn't good. Obviously, as we talked about last week, I'm not really going to comment on the things that are good because we know that they're good. Frank Nazar's insane. Bedard's amazing. These are things that we know. The goalie matchup was Spencer Knight versus Gustafson. You had Frank NASCAR and Grandpa Felino with the goals. I thought Knight looked good. I thought the top line looked good. I think Artie looks completely chaotic. And that definitely translated into the first regular season game that we're going to talk about. But it was good till it wasn't. It was very much start off great in the beginning, let our foot off the gas a little bit in the second, and then try to play catch up in the third. So my real question is, Krusty, what new system am I supposed to be watching?
The new system you're supposed to be watching is they will be a little bit more aggressive on the forecheck. They will be a little bit more aggressive with their defensemen coming and pinching down. They expect everybody to play on their toes, not on the back of their skates. That's basically the new system, is to be a little bit more aggressive. With that, you're going to give up a couple 2-on-1s the other way. And with that, also, the forwards are the key component in all of this because they will have to be covering for the defensemen because the defensemen are being told, unless you think you have no shot at it, you are to go for it. So as a forward, if you are the back forward, which I think they call the F3, you have to realize that, and you have to be ready to get back defensively once you see that defenseman take one stride in. And that'll be the key. So they are back for that. But that is the style. It's going to take a little bit to get used to. This team hasn't played up tempo in a while. So it's going to take a little bit to get used to. And these aren't all young kids, especially at the forward position. Yes, they are defensively, but not at the forward position. So,
Right.
But that's what you're looking at.
Yeah. Not what I saw on Friday. Saturday, I'm going to be honest, folks, I didn't really watch. And then I saw the final result and was like, dang, I'm really glad I didn't watch. But it was a lot of the Rockford kids coming up for, one final game before they begin their season in Rockford. Really don't have a comment on it because they lost like 4-0. But I do have a question because nobody else, I've asked you this, but nobody seems to be giving me an answer with this. Is what's going on with Savvy? He was skated during training camp with their injured reserve group, but was never listed anywhere as injured. Comes for one game, plays under 9 minutes out of 60, and then immediately gets sent down to Rockford and then plays about 10.5 minutes during the game on Saturday. Is he hurt? Does Blashill not like him? I'm confused. And I know because his name is not Lucas Reichel, nobody's going to talk about it.
Well, I could talk about it a little bit. Number one, I was at Notre Dame Saturday, so it was a very late watch for me. I don't think I finished watching Saturday's game till about 1:30 in the morning. and then went, oh my God, why? But he was one of my takeaways. He showed me nothing.
Okay.
So everybody in that game showed me nothing.
Okay.
Maybe a tiny bit of Nolan Allen. That was it.
Fair enough.
So I think that was already decided. I think there's a message sent to him that you better go down to Rockford. You better take care of business. But his game Saturday was probably one of the most disappointing games I've ever seen him play. It just,
All right.
he seemed like he had gotten used to just going through the motions. And that he's a player that can't do that.
Okay.
So I think that's it.
All right.
He's got to be a key cog in Rockford. So that's what
I just wasn't sure because like the amount that he was like skating with the injured group specifically, like it was him, Joey Anderson, Landon Slaggert, and the Pickle, and every 3 out of the 4 were already disclosed what was going on with them. So I'm like, are we battling something? What's happening? But if he gave nothing, he gave nothing.
Yeah, and I've heard, I believe that's going to be the way the Hawks operate this year. Number one is Bash and Pop isn't even going to give you a starting goaltender until like right before game time. He's not going to give you who's playing or not. They are going to be tight-lipped with, I think, a lot of things. So I think the injuries and everything else, they weren't very forthcoming whatsoever during camp. So I think that is just going to continue.
Interesting.
So I was figuring before we talk about the game, we might as well discuss who made it, who didn't, why. So
I feel like we kind of some of our predictions were correct.
yes.
Gritslick signed, which we kind of figured was going to be on the fence. I don't know what that necessarily means for the young kids when the Pickle comes back, because right now the Pickle is just out, and listening to him talk about his injury was mildly concerning. He's like, yeah, I was at practice. I looked down and I was bleeding a lot more than I thought I was. And I'm like, what do you mean? But I have a feeling, especially, and granted, we'll get into the game in a little bit, but with the way Artie performed tonight, I would imagine once Pickle comes back, Gritslick falls into Pickle's position, and then Pickle goes back to his normal spot. Gritslick goes to Artie. Artie goes down to Rockford, is what I'm kind of figuring based on the performance tonight. I will say what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. I think the Kaiser-Artie pairing is nothing but trouble, and it's the dumbest pairing. No hate to either of them. I just don't think it's a good combo. I think their strengths are the same and their weaknesses are the same. And so in facing Florida just made it glaringly obvious, but I think Gritslick falls to Artie. Artie falls out. Because obviously Renzel's not going anywhere and he made the team. And you got Murph with EDM at the moment, which I kind of figured was going to be a 50-50 toss between EDM and Allen. I know a lot of people were critiquing EDM's game at the tail end of training camp. But I don't think it's the end of the world for Allen to go back now, because I think Allen comes up the minute Connor Murphy gets hurt.
Yeah, it's very possible. The one big huff that I've heard is the Allen thing. At least game-wise, he seemed to outplay EDM. And as I always like to bring up, also, Allen spent a good amount of time up with the big club last year.
Yeah.
And what that also means is that means big club paycheck. So this might just be something where they don't see much of a difference between EDM and Nolan Allen, and are going to decide this year EDM's going to see some big bucks, which there's nothing wrong with that. These are not massive needle movers. I am in the camp that I thought Allen outplayed him. We can start to talk about the game and then we'll talk about Artie, but I'll talk about it right now.
We're going to preface because I know Krusty is about to go on a rant. We both love Artie. We've said this every week. We're fans of Artie. Artie needs to be coached.
Yes, and I think he can be coached up at the NHL level. The only other thing roster-wise is everybody was sure Oliver Moore was going to make it, and he did not. And for those who are thinking that Lucas Reichel is going somewhere, he's not going anywhere unless he's put on waivers. So I don't know exactly what they're planning to do with Lucas. I do like the fact that they've made their decisions. Lucas is not going to filter into a third or fourth line role. If there's an injury to a top six, I think he plays. But here they're not going to bring him down in that other role. They'd rather have a Ryan Green, which I completely agree with. So there's that for the whole lineup.
And I'm very happy to see. We like Gangrene. I think that was definitely the right call because right now you got Landon Slaggert out for we don't know how long. I don't think it's anything massive, but again, like you said, Blashill is going to be super tight-lipped about everything, which makes our job to speculate way more fun. So I like to see Green up in the big club. And that was kind of really the only big question mark. Everything else was pretty much pared down during camp.
Yeah, and I think Green, you know what Green is. And I think Moore needs work, and playing 18 minutes a night will be work for Moore, and it'll be exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Which is all good. We can segue right into the Artie stuff if you'd like.
We love Artie, but someone coached the poor kid.
That was probably the worst period I've seen in a while, and it was by Artie.
Yeah.
I thought the next two periods he got better and better. I do not expect him to go down. I do not want him to go down. And my reasoning is I've watched knee-jerk reactions from the last three coaches on this team. You've had all camp, and you've made your decision. It's going to be Kaiser and Artie. You can't, after one game, say, no. You've made that decision. That is on Bash and Pop and KD. You have to ride it out for a little while. So that's just my take on it. Yes.
Good question. Because it seems to be more of a lineup situation. Yes, it isn't. It would be somewhat of a knee-jerk reaction, but then how do you reformat if Artie's not the one to go down? Because Pickle will come back at a point, and you've signed Gritzlick. Do you send him down?
I think EDM goes down. Grizzlick plays with Murphy. And then Creatures, your other defenseman.
Yes.
I think that's the way it's going to play out. You can't start messing with this kid the way you've messed with everybody else. You've had a month and a half to figure things out. And you can't say after one period, oh my God, we messed up.
I don't think that they need to say it then. I think they needed to say it a month ago because it really has not been working.
You need to have said that beforehand.
Right.
You are on board with most of the people that I hear from that everybody hates that pairing.
I don't
for some reason like
individually. I think Kaiser's got strengths. I think Kaiser has weaknesses. I think Artie has strengths. I think Artie needs to be coached. But I think you have too similar of people on the same line together. I think even if you, and I'm speaking in a hypothetical sense, not that we need to do this knee-jerk reaction, but with somebody just a little bit more defensively sound, like Allen and Kaiser together as like a hypothetical where somebody is just a little bit more defensively sound to balance out strengths versus weaknesses. I don't understand the point of having two very aggressive offensive defensemen together.
Correct. And part of that was the understanding that they were coaching Kaiser to be less aggressive, to use his skating just to get the puck out. Again, most people are going to want Artie down yesterday, and most people can't stand this pairing. But for me, I can't stand the fact that you've had a month and a half, and then after one game, you're going to. So I will be on board keeping this pairing together for the rest of the month,
just
and then reevaluating. I also believe after tonight's game, San Renzel really needs the pickle. Sam got a real rude awakening in this game.
And that's going to happen to all the kiddos at a point. I think everybody has a welcome to the NHL moment. He just didn't get it last year.
Oh, I think that is going to happen, but I also think people right away make their decisions on everything. And I think everybody's already made their decision on Sam. So Sam is not going to be critiqued the way Artie's critiqued. Everybody is going to take it easier on Sam because Sam's their guy. They said he should be there. Me, on the other hand, everybody goes through the same crap. And that was a rough game for Sam.
Yes.
I think he'll do better when the pickle gets by him. He's got some offensive stuff, but defensively was a little rough. That's my take on the defensive end. I don't know exactly what they'll do. I thought Grizz played pretty gosh darn well up until, the last 5 minutes when Reinhart made him look completely silly.
Reinhart makes most people look silly.
Right, which is going to happen to anybody. And towards the end of the game, you're pressing to get that other goal. So I thought Artie played better in the second and the third. Artie's just, there's a lot of moving parts with Artie. I believe he can be coached at either level.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with him going down. I have a problem with him going down right away. You've made your decision. I think you need to own that for a little while. That's just my take on it, which now I've repeated like 8,000 times. But yes, everybody that I know of wants those two split up and wants Artie back in Belarus. I don't know.
Well, I don't understand the Artie hate because I'm a fan. I just think I feel like, and I just feel like this in general, and I am going to repeat my opinion 8,000 times, but defensive pairing should be balanced, at least slightly. And I think that's my biggest issue with it. And maybe it's a knee-jerk reaction from me to immediately think that he should get sent down to Rockford because I've consistently had more faith in Rockford coaching than I have in Chicago coaching. And so I'm just at the point right now where nobody can be coached up here because we haven't been. I haven't seen any coaching. And so I'm just not going to believe that it can be done until I actually see it.
Fair enough. It's a point.
So, front end, Christy, what were your thoughts?
Front end as far as forwards or front end's the game? What are you talking? What are we talking? Forwards. I thought things were okay. NASCAR is NASCAR.
Yeah.
I look forward to NASCAR playing with better people.
Yeah. Like Dawson Mercer that we talked about last week.
Yeah. Or, if I'm going to be critiquing everybody, I'll get back to this Connor Bedard speed. I did not see any Connor Bedard speed coming back defensively. This is only one game. Hello, Rutu. This is only one game, but this was definitely a game where I started to think, That's a winger.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's
Patrick Kane was a
probably
winger.
right. That's probably going to be what it is. Bedard is probably going to wing Anton Friendel if all goes well.
And you know, Bert does what Bert always does. I get a good shift, I get a bad shift. I get a real caring shift, I get an I don't care shift. And Tavo's a facilitator. And you know, so I just don't think there's enough talent there rolling with him.
I think it was really nice to watch Tavo because I think Tavo was one of the few people like, was he the fastest? No. But he seemed to be at the same level with most of like the top Florida guys in terms of just hockey IQ during the game and making, you know, smarter choices and reading the ice consistently better than like his line mates and people on the ice. I don't know. I kind of, when I saw him, I was just like, the brain, but that's always been his big thing.
Yeah. And so the new forward that's skating with Bedard, I didn't see much. I don't know exactly where that all goes. So
that's my knee-jerk reaction one. Where you have to keep that together because this poor kid is not going to be recycled with line mates for the next 6 months. I don't care if he plays with most of the third line guys. Keep it the same because that was the biggest issue. And he even admitted that it kind of annoyed him. Just give him consistent line mates, no matter who they are. Just keep it consistent for the sake of Bedard.
Yeah. And so Burkowski, I need more effort. I need a little bit more of a dog mentality. I understand that he's more of a finesse player, but I can't have that.
No.
I need the same go after that I see from Ryan Donato on the other side.
Yes.
And yes, I completely agree with you. I am hoping Bash doesn't mix anything up.
No.
You've made your decisions. It was a month and a half. If you start mixing things up, it just tells me that you don't know what you're doing. You got to stand by your decisions, and that is your accountability and of this whole accountability circle.
I do have a question, though.
I do not have an answer.
At what point, if things are consistently not working, per se, is it less of an accountability thing for him to move things around and more of a things are not working, we need to try other things?
Yeah, I think you're looking 3 weeks in, though.
Okay.
I think you at least give these guys the first 10 to 15. I think that's just what you have to do. And then you start to move things around. It's just, you're not very talented at the forward position. Where do you actually, if you decide Bukowski's not your guy on the wing, where does he go? I don't know.
You put Colton Dach up on the first line.
I understand that Colton Dach can go up onto the first line, but Bukowski then is coming into the fourth line. That doesn't work either.
Well, no, because your fourth isn't that Lafferty, Grandpa Joe, and Ryan?
Well, it's going to be Dach once Slager comes back. So, and I thought Dach did everything that I expect out of Dach again tonight. Yes. I thought he was physical. I thought he played a little bit of skill. He's not going to go skill crazy. He is on the checking line.
He doesn't need to go skill crazy. And in an ideal world, that's not something that you're relying on him to be skillful, obviously, but you're not relying on him to be the guy.
Correct. So, in the fourth line, I thought looked fine. Flow was flow. Again, some good shifts, some bad shifts. No. I didn't mind his fight. I think he showed a little something. I don't need the constant him going to half in between period reporters saying what they're talking about in the locker room. I don't need that. Okay, I need stuff on the ice. I don't need the fluff and blah rah rah. And I need to play. So those are your four lines. At the end of the day, we don't have a ton of talent.
Nope.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I thought from the group, I thought they battled.
Yes.
I thought they stuck their nose in there more than they used to. Still not to the level that they need to be, especially for the amount of unskilled players you have. You need to be going to the body more, and you need to be sticking things in more. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, it still felt like kind of the slump that we had for the majority of last year, but the lower point of the slump was definitely higher than we've seen it last year or even 2 years ago, and the peaks were definitely higher in terms of like caring. But it was still, if we could just work on not having such a big slump, and then playing catch up, I think that would be ideal in a perfect world.
yes, well, Nazar got his goal, and then everything changed, and they really got dealt. Again, Artie had a really tough first period. Sam had a really tough first period. Everybody basically, when you get outshot 17-3, there's nobody who played well besides Spencer Knight.
Right. Which, oh my God, he was so great. He was the main reason why we were slightly in this game and competitive. Spencer Knight was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought Spencer Knight was really good. I thought the defensive group did a good job of taking care of in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they all battled pretty well in front of the net. There wasn't people left completely alone. They were trying to tie up sticks. They were really battling. It's more they get caught in bad positions and can't make their turns is where the problems arose. And again, it was a 3-2 game. You played them kind of tough. Granted, they're down a couple superstars and they were missing a couple players for a little bit, but it is what it is. It's one game. It could have been a lot worse. It easily could have been 8-2.
Yeah.
Had it not been for Spencer Knight. I don't understand that. Reinhart, I think it was Reinhart, right, who took the puck to the face.
I feel like there were multiple guys that took a puck to the face.
Yeah, he took the puck to the face and they blew the whistle. I'm like, they didn't have possession. He's supposed to stay there on the ice, bleeding, until we give up possession. I saw that happen like 2 or 3 times. Just because somebody goes down. This is the National Hockey League. We play on. So that was my other little thing of that. But I don't know. What were your thoughts
On the game?
On the game, life in general, the change in the weather, whatever. It's your show.
Spencer was great. I think we've kind of talked about the decor. I think forward wise, NASCAR's NASCAR, Bedard's Bedard. And Colton Dock, I'll toot the horn every week that Colton Dock has definitely earned his spot to be up with the big club. I don't know if I was really impressed by any of the veterans. I don't know if it just takes him an additional week. I think this was my kind of concern, during training camp when a lot of the kids showed a ton of effort and I wasn't seeing as much from the big club. And it was like, okay, when do I see it? And I'm still asking the question, when do I see it? But I also know that, we don't have a ton of talent right now. But I thought Table looked good. I thought Knight looked good. I think we do need to talk about our favorite Panther, though, because we can. Guys, did you see Seth Jones manning Connor Bedard the entire game? I know I'm not supposed to root for him, but gosh darn it, it's my show and we do. It was nice.
I really enjoyed the beginning of the game when he put Foligno into the net. That I just got a big kick out of. I'm sure the X, Y, and Z, which I stayed off of tonight, and I think that's going to be my thing during games. And I think I'll just stay off of it, except when I'm at the gym, because usually I'll read stuff that'll make me angry, and it does help the workout.
There you go.
But I thought Seth had not a phenomenal second, but a phenomenal first and third.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's going to be a big piece for them. As far as our veterans, I need a little bit more from the Dick. I understand that he's got a tall ask playing the checking line, but I need him to play a little tougher.
And who knows, we might see that. I mean, we're also being incredibly critical as we're playing the best team in the NHL. So, I mean, he may come up a little bit better, not against Florida. It's not like we have to face Florida in June.
Correct. And I mean, we turn around, we play again Thursday.
Yep.
So you get Boston, who's in a slight retooling, and you expect better things, or at least the same kind of things.
Yeah. Do you think we get Bloom in net for Boston? And then Spencer goes Saturday? Or do you think Spencer gets the whole week?
I would not have a problem with giving Bloom the net if I'm running the team.
Yeah,
I trot him right back out. I try Knight right back out. We've stated he's my number one. So you give him number one. It's not a back-to-back. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I don't see the problem in that. So you know, granted, it's a little bit of a long flight, Florida back to up to New England area, but I would, after that performance, I'd like to run him back out again. I start worrying about stuff maybe the following week about starting to work in splitting time. We go Saturday, and then I think Monday at home, maybe play him Monday. That's just me. I think after that game, why bench him? Fatigue? He's a 25-year-old goaltender.
Right.
There shouldn't be any fatigue. So, but that's my take. I am not a fan of them trying to split things right now. I'm a fan of them starting to act like an NHL club. You say he's a number one, you play him like a number one. And with this team, you're gonna need goaltending. Bloom's played really well, but still, that's just my take. What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I would play Bloom in Boston just for the sake of having, not that I think Spencer Knight is going to be fatigued. And I do see your point of, you know, this is the first week. You should be ready to go. But I think I would just want him 100% absolutely on for Saturday and care more about that being in front of a home crowd. And I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of, you know, this isn't my number one starter. This is my backup guy. I do kind of have a slight issue that they've already have come out and stated that already. I think that's something, in my opinion, you should be a little bit more tight-lipped about and see how the kids play. I don't think it should be guaranteed that Spencer Knight is your number one. I don't think anybody should be guaranteed that they're the number one goaltender. I think they need to prove it, and I think there's no real reason why Bloom should not be in the conversation.
Okay.
I don't think he should be a complete write-off.
Oh, yeah, I'm not writing him off. I just I want my number one, and there was nothing that I saw today that makes me think he's not my number one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Bloom can play well enough where he's a 1B, but Spencer's playing like a 1, so That's just my take on it. So, again, I'm hoping we don't change up the lineups too much.
I don't think we will unless somebody comes back from injury.
Yeah, the Landon thing, I don't know exactly what's going on.
No.
But I've heard it's a quick IR and he could actually come off of it by Thursday.
Yeah.
So, again, if he comes off, I mean, I like him in that spot. I like the way he plays on a third line. I've mentioned that many times.
Yeah.
And, that puts Doc back to the fourth line, which is okay. And if things continue the way they have in like 2 weeks, and if Doc's still on my fourth line, I start giving him little bones. I give him a shot with the top line.
Yep.
I'm not changing up my lines, but yeah, one shift here, one shift there with Connor Bedard. Heck yes. It's a way to tell Bukowski, hey, I need more effort without saying I'm going to change everything.
Right. No, that makes sense.
So and that's just also the way I like coaches to go. I don't need a complete change. You can do little things in game that will get your message across. So that was it.
Fair enough. Christy, got anything else for this week?
No, I'm still really, really excited.
Yeah.
I can talk forever.
Feels good to have hockey.
Game. As I said, it's going to be a long year. Defensively, we are going to have our struggles.
That's okay because they're babies. We'd rather watch the babies struggle than not.
Yes, and they are babies, and Renzel is going to be playing top pair minutes. That's pretty difficult. That's extremely difficult. So, this is going to be a learning year for him. We'll see what happens with Artie. And Kaiser. I don't know. So that's about the only thoughts I've got on it.
All right. And on that note, friends, actually, you are going to Saturday's game, home opener. Guess what? We are too. So you should send us a message so we can say hi and make new hockey friends and give out friendship bracelets. Because Chrissy doesn't do friendship bracelets, but I do. And we're all about making new hockey friends, whether you are a diehard fan like us, whether you are a casual watcher, or whether you are just getting into hockey this season and you don't even have a team yet. That's okay. Every hockey fan is valid, unless you're mean to other people purposefully. But please, come by and say hi on Saturday, because we love hockey friends.
Because Krusty doesn't really have any friends, and the only friends he has are hockey friends, so...
Exactly.
I'd like to, way back when we used to have quite a winter family, I'd like to start to build a new winter family. And that means you, who's ever watching this.
And on that note, folks, just as a reminder, make sure to hit like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you are going to Saturday's game or any other game in hockey at all this season, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up all the pucks in play. That is all. And we will talk at you guys next week.